I want to start this speech with a popular meme from last year. This is a screenshot sharing from Weibo, one of China's largest social media platforms. So it says that a 60-year-old lady killed 5 opponents with Zhao Zilong, which is a famous Chinese game character, on the ranking match at 3 a.m., leaving Tencent, the company of that game, lost in thought. So this picture records the situation that game company will detect.
Since the Chinese government compressed the time for minors to access the online game from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, this has been a very common phenomenon. And many children just use their parents' and grandparents' ID cards to verify their identities in various of games to avoid the time constraints. Then this is a very serious fact that there are many children in China are addicted to the video game. So the government just published a policy for the game time limit. And so many parents are very supportive about that. However, can such a policy, once and for all take all the issues gone? Like just make parents take less care about this issue? I want to remind those parents that the time limit policy cannot effectively deal with this kind of issue. Well, just like the news, I stated before that there are many methods for children to avoid the constraints. Like they can use steal their grandparents' ID cards, or some of them can even purchase the others, like the strangers' personal information to do the verification, and which is totally illegal. Well, and even though the government, the country, made such a policy to limit the time, their energy will mostly still be spent on such things. I was once obsessed with one game named Identify, and so at the time the time limit policy has been issued, and so that which means that I only have 3 hours a week, but I will always recall the last week's game, how well I do, or some place I still need to improve. That's just the game. And sometimes I will even simulate the game, just like playing with myself in my brain, and that's really doubled my time for completing my homework. So I think the most important thing for the most important reason for the addiction, is that lack of family, the lack of family companionship. Well, it is very regular in China that many parents are just busy, and even some of them even need to work at home at night, and some of them just really tired to accompanying their parents, their children, and they just want to take the rest earlier. So, children in this kind of family atmosphere will just feel lonely very often. Not only from their parents, but also they like to see the perfunctory behaviors. So so suddenly they find video games, and they will receive, and they will keep going when they receive the rewards to look forward for the next one. and sometimes they just beat opponents with their teammates together. So these two things are the main thing in psychological reason that why children are really be addicted to those games. So my suggestion is that the parents should spend more time with their children, like even just spend just take a little time every day, or they can take their children out of the room, including hiking, like sports game or picnic. All these things are good activities. Well, we also have to consider about the situation that some parents really do not have those time. I mean, they can truly ask their children to share their interest. I mean, the interest experience or things, the actively participating can really reduce the addiction for the game. Yeah, and another thing that I realize is also very significant for addiction is that the lack of education. In China, children often is often lack of education. The comprehensive education, especially in their early age. The school is not a place for students, for training students to be in a test machine. Well, then the life is so boring. School should, just take children out of the classroom to explore, to find the nature, so that they can find their unique interest, and that will also reduce the addiction to video game. As a consequence, the topics, the content that children will talk about after classes or schools will be their different experience, or something in various, since they have their own unique experience, not just the video game, like the character's personality or the character's skills. And I believe that if children just get enough family companionship and really well education, just I take before, they can really have a good time, and they will be there really is no need to worry about their addiction to games, since they can balance the learning and entertainment. In personal suggestion, I even wanted to extend the time limit a little, so that children can somehow have a rest after they finish their study. So finally, I will use another example that I find that my cousin's parents really did well in these aspects. Like, they just gave enough patient companionship to my cousin. So my cousin is in high school now, and he can just do well in the school, and also keep his interest about insects, which the hobbies he kept for really a long time until today. I think that is truly a successful instance. Like, since when the time I was struggle with the homework, since I really wanted to play the video game, but I have to finish the things in the school firstly, and he at the time, he can just schedule the time wisely. And I really admire the ability, that kind of ability. So finally, I just want to say that why people have to waste their the most fantastic time, in the life, on the game. when people just lose their enthusiasm for the games when they grow up as like say an adult or even a teenager, what's left in their life? Yeah, so why don't we just do those actions now? So for teenagers, you should talk with your family, you should spend more time with them, you should work out to see the world, not just your phone or computer for the video game. And for parents, we need you really need to provide patient companionship, not the physical but spiritual. You not only be there, your mind, your patience, to show your company to your children. Yeah. So that's it.